Now that we know how to take an input and how to print variables or to print strings, we can use if and else. And so this part of programming is called selection. So we're going to start by using what we already know, and we're going to put an age variable and we're going to cast it as an integer. We're going to put that input command that will let someone type in whatever they want. And then we're going to give an instruction. So I'm going to go with how old are you? Remembering to put 2 brackets at the end, otherwise nothing will work properly. And then when we use selection, we start with the if command. And this is our kind of question or our checking. And we're going to check, in this case, if their age is greater than 18. And I'm going to then put a colon, which is how we write it in Python. So we have if, we have the name of the variable, whatever operator we want. So our operator here is the greater than symbol. And then in this case, we're checking if it is greater than 18. And when I press enter, you'll notice that it hasn't gone right back to the edge. We've got here what's called an indent. And if that indent doesn't automatically appear, it probably means that you forgot to put a colon. But if it isn't where you need it, you can always make an indent by pressing the tab button on your keyboard. So we've got if age is more than 18. And at this point, I'm going to just print something. I'm going to print you are an adult. And I'm going to press enter. And notice that when I have pressed enter, my cursor is here at the moment. So I'm not right back at the edge of the page. And we'll look at why that matters and what we're going to do in a moment. So this if statement here, the if is lined up with the very edge of the page of the window. We've then got what's called an indent, which is this space. And the reason we have this indent is it tells us that this bit of code is only going to run if the condition is met. So if the age is more than 18, this line of code will run. But if that isn't true, if that doesn't happen, then this line of code will never run in our program. And so this indent stops it from just running automatically. But now I'm going to click back at the edge because I now want to put in an else. And we put else with a colon. And what that does is it tells us, or it tells the program, that anything that isn't over 18, anything they've typed in as their age that isn't over 18, it's going to do this instead. So if their age is not over 18, it's going to do this. And I'm going to go with you are young. So we've got 2 different possibilities. When we press F5 to run this, what we're hoping is if we type in age over 18, it will say you are an adult. And if not, then it's going to say you are young. So let's test it and see. So let's first of all go with an over 18 age, and let's go with 22. And when I press enter, it says you are an adult, fully as we would expect. If we then run it again, so I'm just pressing F5 again, and it says how old are you? We've refreshed it, and this time I'm going to go with 12. When I press enter, it says you are young, which is what we would expect. And so you can see that we've given 2 possible conditions here. And there's lots of things that we can do with this. So we can use different operators. So for example, we could use, maybe we want to check that they are exactly equal to 18. So we could put a double equals, and a double equals is used to check if their age is the same as 18. And in that case, I might want to say you are 18. At that point, I may then want, I'm just going to move this down, I may then want to have kind of a middle option as well. So I might want to then have an option that if they're older than 18, it's going to say something. And if they are not 18 and they're not older than 18, I might want it to say something else. So I'm going to go with this command. And elif is used in between an if and an else. So I've got elif, and I'm going to check elif age is more than 18. And then I'm going to print you are an adult. So I'm just changing my code slightly. So now I've got 3 possible options. It's going to check if their age is 18 exactly. So double equals means is it the same as? So it's going to check if their age is 18. And if it is, it will say 18. Elif is another condition that it's going to check. And notice that the print here is indented as well, because we only want it to say you are an adult if this criteria is met. So if or elif, their age is more than 18, it's going to say you are an adult. And then our else is if they type in anything else. So if they haven't typed in that they're 18 and they haven't typed in that they're more than 18, then we want it to say you are young. So if I run this, and I'm going to first of all check that it works with my 18. So I'm going to type in 18 and it says you are 18, which is what we expected. I'm going to run it again and I'm going to just try it with an older age. So let's go much higher, this time with 90, and it says you are an adult. And I could try it again with a younger age and it would say you are young. So with selection, you can either just have your if and your else like this, where you've got your if and whatever you want to happen, if that is true, goes indented underneath, and then your else, which covers everything else, and whatever you want to happen indented underneath. Or if you want to have more options, you can have an elif in the middle. And you can actually have as many elifs, my indents have got a bit funny there. You can actually have as many elifs as you want. That's all gone very wonky. Let's take that back. You can have as many elifs as you want in the middle. Now you could change this to have a different criteria. We're not going to do that now, but you could have a play around with adding in different options. And it might be that you just want to check all different ages. So it might be that you want to check some of the key ages, so that if they are 30, you want it to say something. And if they are 100, you might want it to say something. I'm not going to edit all of this at the moment because you can get the idea. So let's go back and take that away for a second. So we can also then use if and else for strings or for text. So I might have a line of code that asks the user for a password. So let's go with this. Now I'm just putting it as an input. I'm not putting int or float or anything like that because we're just asking them for text. And I'm going to go for enter a password. Or let's go enter the password. That would make more sense. And then I might want to check for if their password is equal to, let's go for something really obvious, password 123. There we go. If their password is equal to password 123, then we might want to output access granted. Else, so if they've typed in something that is wrong, we might want to output then a message saying wrong password. And so when I run this code, if they get the password correct, it's going to say this, and if not, it's going to say this. And we'll just have a quick run just to check that that's going to work. So if I type in password 123 and press enter, it will say access granted. Whereas if I typed in something that was wrong, so maybe it was partially right, just like password, it's going to say wrong password. So we can use if and else, just press enter there. We can use if and else for strings as well as integers or even floats. And the other operator that I just wanted to show you with if and else can be let's do this way. I'm going to change my input and I'm going to have a variable called word and I'm going to put input because it's going to be text. And let's go for guess the word. And this one's going to be a guessing game. And so I might then want to, once I've asked them for their word, check if the word, and it might be that if the word is not equal, if the word is not equal to a particular thing, I might want it to say one thing. Now, not equal to is shown as exclamation mark equals in programming. So we've got if the word is not equal to, and let's see what we could say it's not equal to. It could be not equal to hello. In that case, we might want to print wrong. And then our else in this case might then cover if they have typed in hello and we want to type in correct. Now we could obviously do this the other way around as well. We could check if the word equals hello and say correct. But I just wanted to show you how we can also use an operator for not equal to, which will be useful later on as well. And so at this point, if we run it, and we can guess the word. So let's type in hello. and it will say correct. And otherwise, if I didn't type that in, if I said a word that was not equal to hello, it would say wrong. So the things that I'm going to just quickly remind you are that we have if and else, but you can have an elif in the middle, which would go here. And the elif has to be another kind of question or statement. So for example, we could have if word is equal to, let's go for by. We're just going to output by in that case. So if we have our if always goes first. Whatever we want to happen inside our if that condition is met, has to be indented. So this has to be indented. Then we've got our elif, and this is optional. But it lets you have another criteria that you can test. Can't spell there. There we go. Again, this is indented, and that is because we only want this line of code to run if that condition is met. And then else is always last. And you don't have a condition for else. You don't have to write else anything else. You just have else and a colon. And then again, this bit is indented. So I'll leave that there in case you need to take a screenshot as a reminder.